Now, knowing you, I know that you're aware of the things that people are saying. You're moving up in two-weight classes. You're the smaller man. Whatever you do, Terence Crawford, don't exchange against them. What do you feel you have to do?
Be myself. I'm 41-0 for a reason.
Stephen A.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to
Mayweather was undefeated for the last half of his career.
For more than 20 years, Floyd Mayweather's flawless 50-0 record was treated as untouchable, a symbol no fighter could tarnish. He was the phantom inside the ropes, a defensive genius who made even greats appear average. But everything shifted on one unforgettable night. With one decisive performance and the words of the only man who had shared the ring with both, that legacy suddenly felt vulnerable. The argument was no longer just who's the better fighter, it was whether Mayweather's entire reign had been surpassed. The storm ignited the moment Terence Crawford had his hand raised against Canelo Alvarez after delivering the kind of brilliance most believed no one could achieve.
Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance. He had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant...
But the real earthquake didn't happen in the ring. It erupted in the post-fight press conference. With cameras flashing and the world's media hanging on his every word, Canelo was asked the question everyone wanted answered. How did Crawford compare to his former rival Floyd Mayweather? Without pause, without a hint of doubt, he delivered his verdict.
And compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence Bud Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
Coming from the only fighter alive to have faced both men, this wasn't just a casual remark, it was a bombshell. One sentence sent shockwaves rippling through the sport, reigniting a debate that had been quietly brewing for years. And it didn't take long for a powerful voice to step into the chaos. Watching from the sidelines, Stephen A. Smith was instantly captivated. Like many, he expected Crawford to rely on finesse, circling, jabbing, and keeping his distance from the bigger, stronger Canelo. But that's not what unfolded.
Crawford making my prediction come through. Coming into the fight, I had him winning by decision. I thought he was the superior boxer. I thought he would be able to take a punch. And as long as he didn't stay there and exchange with Canelo, I thought he could do it. What surprised me is that there were times during the fight, he did stand there and exchange with Canelo and took it. Took some body shots to the liver. Took some headshots. Exchanged. And still ended up winning this fight. I thought from the 8th round on, he just put on a boxing clinic. But I gotta give credit where credit is due. Crawford deserved to win the fight.
Stephen A. hailed it as a masterclass, a performance for the ages. Yet, even as he praised Crawford's brilliance, he hesitated to hand over the crown. In his mind lingered the memory of a different kind of genius, a phantom in the ring, untouchable, elusive. For all of Crawford's grit and greatness, Stephen A. insisted he was not that.
He finds a way to win. No matter who he's going up against, no matter what power you have, what boxing skills you have, he is truly a generational kind of fighter. He wants to go in the ring and not just beat you, but show you he was a better man. And he's not one who believes that just a knockout does that. He likes outboxing you and showing you that his skill level is superior to yours. And he showed.
This was the moment Stephen A. Smith drew the line, making a distinction that reframed the entire debate. He reminded the world that Floyd Mayweather was not simply a great fighter, he was a defensive enigma, a magician whose craft was built on the art of not being touched. With hands that had become notoriously brittle through the latter half of his career, Mayweather understood he could no longer depend on knockout power. That wasn't speculation. It was a well-documented reality.
Mayweather was undefeated for the last half of his career with one hand. He constantly broke his hand.
Yeah.
He would go into a ring knowing he had no shot at knocking somebody out because his hands were hurt too much, and literally walked in the ring and said, I'm going to embarrass you and humiliate you by showing the world you can't hit me.
Mayweather himself admitted that his hands were real brittle, even confessing that before the Conor McGregor fight, he couldn't spar for an entire month because of injury.
My face. And he says, I'm going to take him out about the 8th or 9th round. And I said, your hand's always broken. You ain't known for your punching power since you moved up from lightweight to welterweight. Why are you so sure you're going to do this? He said, Stephen A., he's a UFC fighter. He said, and he's a striker. He's accustomed to coming at you and throwing punches. What he's not accustomed to doing is punching while he's throwing backwards, while he's moving backwards and pushing you off of him. He says, I'm going to walk right into him and stay at his chest. He's going to have to push me off in order to throw his punches. He said he's going to be circling the ring. He said by around 4 or 5, he's not going to have any legs. He's going to be done. And he said, and I'll just toy with him and keep him around until around the 8th or the 9th round. And that is exactly what Floyd Money Mayweather did. He told me exactly what he was going to do. And he did.
To add an even more controversial layer, reports have long suggested that in the latter half of his career, Mayweather chose to fight almost exclusively in Las Vegas, one of the few jurisdictions that permitted fighters to use numbing injections like xylocaine to manage hand pain. The implication was clear. His fragile hands shaped not only how he fought, but where he fought. And rather than rely on power, he perfected a style that made him untouchable.
I thought you hurt your hand by myself. Okay, all right. Relax, baby, the job is done already.
Put in a bucket of ice, man. Yeah, I'll get a bucket of ice. It's killing me.
I'm saying Shane hit me with a hell of a shot.
Okay.
Actually, 2 shots.
Oh, okay.
But even in that particular round, what I said to Shane was this. I was like,
you just said something to him when you grabbed him.
I said, you got to kill me.
Oh, shit.
I said,
I wasn't ready, Floyd.
I said, that was a good one. I said, that was a good one, but you got to kill me.
Wow.
I said, you got to kill me. And did I mean it? I'm not going to lie. I meant it.
To add a more controversial layer,
that perspective was echoed by trainer Greg Hackett, who insisted that the version of Floyd who dismantled Canelo was a complete fighter, refined, polished, and unshakable. In his view, Crawford's style, though brilliant, leaned closer to a Wilder-like approach. Explosive, dangerous, but not the same seamless mastery Mayweather displayed.
Floyd got to 50, he was a heavyweight champ. Did anyone ever consider Rocky Marciano the GOAT? No, not seriously, no. Why would Floyd be considered the GOAT? Because he beat more fighters than Rocky did, more great ones? That's true. But really, Floyd was careful in the way he selected opponents. Don't get that twisted. It's not that Floyd didn't fight a lot of great fighters, he did. It's not that I don't think he would have beaten a lot of the tougher fighters than he fought. I think he probably would have, but he didn't do it. He waited. He waited till Pacquiao wasn't at his best anymore. He didn't fight Margarito when Margarito was tearing everyone up. He waited for the right time to fight people. He got paid twice as much for fighting Pacquiao in a less dangerous fight than he would have had he fought him when everyone wanted to see him.
Trainer Greg Hackett echoed the sentiment, reminding fans that the Floyd who dismantled Canelo was the definition of a complete fighter, refined, polished, and unshakable under pressure. By comparison, he argued, Crawford's brilliance carried shades of Deontay Wilder. Explosive, unpredictable, and devastating, but lacking the seamless, calculated mastery that set Mayweather apart.
Floyd is among the all-time greats, but he ain't number one.
This perspective adds an important layer of nuance, reminding us that greatness isn't a straight line. It shifts with the eras and the moments a fighter commands. And complicating the comparison even further is the age factor. Floyd's own uncle, Jeff Mayweather, pointed out that Floyd was already 36, past his prime, when he faced a young and hungry Canelo. That detail makes it nearly impossible to place, side by side with a peak Terence Crawford battling a fully seasoned version of Canelo Alvarez.
I can't say he's capping. I can't, because I don't know what he felt. But when I heard that, what I think is, when Floyd beat me, I was 23, I wasn't polished. When Bud beat me, I was the man. I was the man. And he beat me fair and square. He beat me at my game and he beat me at his game. That's why Canelo said that. Do I believe that? It's tough to believe, but I can only take Canelo's word because he's the man that's been in the ring with both of them. But I understand why he said it. I was a kid when I fought Floyd. He wasn't a kid literally, but he was young. He was young. There was a lot he didn't know. There was a lot he didn't understand about boxing that he later on learned and got better. But Bud beat the better version of me, even though it's the ran down version. I'm saying that because it is some wear and tear there with Canelo. I've been saying it the whole time. When a guy got almost 70 fights in current time, with all those big camps he's been doing and all that, trust me, it's some wear and tear there. I'm not making excuses for Canelo. I'm just saying.
I don't know. That's what it gives it that air.
I also think you got to remember when you talking about a Mexican fighter, they big on punishment. He might also feel Crawford punches harder than Floyd and took more chances than Floyd took. Floyd really was super speed that night. Like, everything speed, and it irritated Canelo because Canelo couldn't do what he wanted to do, and he looked nothing like himself. Like I said, I think it was just times where Canelo felt like, damn, I could have had him. With Floyd, I think he felt like paralyzed. Like, damn, I can't catch this motherfucker. He too fast. But with Crawford, I felt like he maybe was saying, damn, I could have, if I would have threw this, or if I would have did that. You know what I mean? Because it was times Crawford sat there and caught a punch and countered back. You know what I'm saying? He let Canelo throw, like, go ahead, throw your shit. He caught that shit, boom, and come right back with the hook. The same shot he caught Earl with. He was touching Canelo with some of that same shit, man. And it was just like, and it was times where Crawford was imposing himself on Canelo. He was stepping to Canelo at times. He didn't do it the whole fight, but I'm just saying it was times he stepped to him. Floyd did too, but Floyd just was so fast, so much faster. And the education was like totally different. Like when Canelo fought Floyd, Canelo was in middle school. He wasn't even, you know what I'm saying? Floyd by that time was already a Harvard graduate. You know what I'm saying? So.
In Stephen A.'s own words,
I think that Floyd Mayweather was such a magician defensively. And we have to look at Floyd Money Mayweather in this regard. Once he moved up to welterweight, his hands were always damaged. So he kind of knew he wasn't going to be able to knock you out for the most part. And still, he walked into the ring and put on masterful performances because he was so superior, skill-wise and defensively. You can't say enough. Tonight with Crawford, for example,
it shifts the argument away from a simple head-to-head debate and instead frames it as a story of two kings, each ruling over his own distinct era in boxing history.
And it's not just the title, it's what else?
It's everything. He got everything. And I'm coming to get it.
When you beat him, you'll have everything.
That's right.
This perspective adds a crucial layer of nuance, suggesting that greatness isn't a single...
The debate over primes and defensive mastery is complex, but one fact is undeniable. Terence Crawford has a monumental achievement on his record, something Floyd Mayweather never even came close to reaching.
Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw. And then the other two judges scored it for Floyd, of course. And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he still took him, into deep waters. So
what was Canelo? What, 20-something? 20 what? 23? 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game, obviously.
Very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah, but
man, that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people.
But are you at the top of your career in your prime? You ain't in your prime when you were 36.
It framed
by defeating Canelo, Terence Crawford etched his name in history as the first male boxer to become the undisputed champion in 3 separate weight divisions. The victory was so monumental that one of modern boxing's most influential voices, Turki Alalshik, immediately declared Crawford the fighter of the century. To put it in perspective, while Mayweather captured titles across 5 weight divisions, he was never the undisputed king. He never held all 4 major belts in a single division. Crawford, in contrast, collected every belt in 3 weight classes, a feat that speaks volumes about his legacy. This wasn't luck. It was the product of meticulous preparation. Crawford later revealed the intensity of his training camp, explaining that his team focused entirely on strength and conditioning, ensuring his body could withstand whatever Canelo threw at him. But their differences extend beyond belts and accolades. It was also about the paths they chose. Floyd Mayweather was more than a fighter. He was the CEO of his own legacy. As analyst Max Kellerman pointed out, once Floyd moved up from lightweight, his career became a masterclass in strategic matchmaking. He chose his opponents,